Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today we're plunging headfirst into a story about a town once wholesome and innocent, now forever changed by the mysterious death of Jason Blossom on the 4th of July. It's a line that just instantly pulls you in, doesn't it? That haunting narration from Jughead. It sets a tone that promises so much more than just a simple tragedy.
It absolutely does. And what immediately strikes me about that opening and what becomes, incredibly significant as we dig into the script is that fundamental shift.
Right.
From what was initially presented as an accidental drowning, tragic, but maybe understandable, we are immediately hit with the stark truth. This is a mysterious death.
Yeah.
It's not an accident anymore. It's a homicide investigation. A profound shattering of Riverdale's whole innocent image, and it really, really sets the stage for a, frankly, deeply unsettling journey into this town's underbelly.
And that's precisely our goal today. We're taking a deep dive into the script for Riverdale Season 1, Chapter 2, ominously titled A Touch of Evil.
Our mission.
To meticulously unpack the secrets, the betrayals, the simmering tensions that just burst forth in Riverdale right after Jason Blossom's death. We want to see what crucial nuggets of insight we can maybe pull out about where this story is heading.
Yeah.
And how these early moments really establish the tone, the direction for everything that follows. Think of it like peeling back the layers of a particularly complex and juicy onion, trying to predict the next tiers, maybe.
Exactly. And we'll be looking far beyond just the immediate plot points. We'll be dissecting character motivations, tracing the escalating mystery, and really examining the complex, often fraught web of relationships that define this town.
Right.
Our goal is to connect the dots that emerge just from this single script, to understand not just what happens, but why it matters. What does it tell us about the deeper currents of, deceit and darkness running through this seemingly perfect little community? It's about spotting those subtle clues, those character shifts that will inevitably dictate the show's future twists and turns.
So if you've had a chance to read this script, what immediately grabbed your attention? For us, it was the sheer speed, right? The speed at which the mystery just intensifies and the surprising ways characters start to, unravel under this new pressure.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like the town's true colors are just bleeding through, and they're definitely not pastels.
You're absolutely right. The immediate shift in tone from the pilot's aftermath is just palpable. That initial accidental drowning premise, it isn't just shattered, it's like pulverized within the first few pages.
Right.
This rapid escalation forces characters to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves, about each other, often much sooner than they'd like. It's a very deliberate narrative choice, I think, to pull back the curtains so quickly. It suggests that the real drama isn't just what happened, but who knew what, who lied, and what else is hiding under the surface of Riverdale. It immediately signals, this isn't going to be a slow burn. It's a plunge straight into chaos.
And that plunge begins almost immediately with Archie, right? Burdened by this terrifying secret. Let's unpack this, his immediate dilemma.
Yeah, the script opens with Archie confronting Mrs. Grundy. He's clearly weighed down by the secret of what they heard on July 4th. He confesses, he says it wasn't fireworks. He's convinced it was the sound of Jason Blossom's death. And Grundy's reaction, it's just immediate, overwhelming terror.
Okay.
She explicitly tells him, if anybody knows that we were there, I could lose my job. You could be expelled. We could go to jail.
Yeah.
And her chilling follow-up, this is not a negotiation, Archie. This is our lives. That just reveals the absolute stakes of their shared secret.
That's a powerful and honestly kind of disturbing start. What's truly fascinating here is the profound moral dilemma Archie faces right out of the gate. He's clearly burdened by this massive secret, convinced he heard the fatal shot, and his natural inclination seems to be toward honesty, towards justice, right? But Grundy's self-preservation instinct is just paramount. It overrides everything else. This immediately sets up a foundational conflict within Archie. Doing what's right, coming clean about what he knows, versus protecting himself and, crucially, protecting her.
Yeah.
This isn't just a tough choice. It's a moment that subtly, corrupts his integrity, driven largely by Mrs. Grundy's, calculated manipulation.
Precisely. And the real insight here is how Grundy's self-preservation doesn't just create a secret, it actively perverts Archie's own developing moral compass. She weaponizes his feelings for her, his youthful sense of responsibility to basically ensure his silence. Her fear, her absolute refusal to even consider telling anyone becomes this powerful tool of emotional blackmail.
Right.
This initial lie, born from a desperate need to protect their frankly illicit relationship, isn't just a minor thing. It's a narrative anchor. It's going to snowball, no doubt, pulling Archie deeper into this web of deceit that he's clearly not equipped to handle. It immediately positions Grundy as a character driven mainly by selfish motives, rather than any real care for Archie's well-being or, getting justice for Jason. This moment foreshadows a long, difficult road for Archie, where his desire to do the right thing is just going to be constantly challenged and compromised.
That chilling dynamic really makes his relationship with his father, Fred Andrews, stand out even more, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Fred notices Archie sneaking out, questions him. Archie lies, of course, says he went for a jog because of all this stuff with Jason. And Fred, just being the perceptive dad he is, casually warns him against midnight runs until the killer is caught. He even fondly remembers catching Archie sneaking out since he was 8 to go to Jughead's treehouse. It just shows his deep, familiar understanding of his son.
It's such a stark and immediate contrast, isn't it? While Grundy is busy manipulating Archie with threats and emotional blackmail,
Right.
Fred is simply being a caring, perceptive father.
Right.
He knows Archie intimately, instinctively, picking up on his son's unease, his vague answers, without being accusatory. This highlights a foundational relationship built on trust, on genuine concern, even when Archie is actively lying to him. Fred isn't demanding answers. He's offering quiet support, a guiding hand. He understands the weight of Jason's death is affecting everyone, especially his son. He's like the anchor of moral consistency in Archie's turbulent world.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Fred's honest, supportive approach here sets up such a stark contrast with other parental figures we're about to meet in Riverdale, like, Alice Cooper, who operates from a place of deep-seated manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
This honest foundation between Archie and Fred almost foreshadows potential future conflict, where Archie's escalating secrets, especially around Grundy and Jason's death, might finally clash head-on with his father's unwavering trust and moral compass.
Definitely.
It's a quiet moment, yes, but incredibly telling about the kind of principled man Fred is trying to raise Archie to be, and how Archie's current path is really diverging from that ideal. This parental guidance becomes such a critical theme.
Which brings us neatly to Alice Cooper, a parental figure operating on an entirely different wavelength, a completely different planet, maybe.
Yeah.
She tells Betty that the murdered Blossom's son is, quote, a national obsession waiting to happen. Okay, journalistic ambition noted. But the real bombshell, and where her manipulative nature truly shines, is when she turns her focus onto Betty. She twists the knife about Betty's recent emotional turmoil, saying, but when they betrayed you this weekend, you saw their true colors, didn't you? So no backsliding, no Cheryl, no Veronica, and no Archie. And Betty's heartbreakingly compliant response, I definitely did, just reveals the depth of Alice's control over her.
This is where the script reveals a really, really interesting psychological dynamic. Alice is immediately, almost clinically, trying to control Betty's narrative, isolate her from key relationships. It's not just about protection, even though she frames it that way. It feels like it's about absolute control and maybe, like you said earlier, a deeper, long-standing vendetta against certain families or individuals in Riverdale. She's painting this very specific black and white picture for Betty, one where Archie, Veronica, and Cheryl are all villains. Her almost gleeful pronouncements about Jason being the sociopathic son of the wealthiest family in town, murdered, that speaks volumes about her perspective.
Yeah.
It's less about grief and more about exploiting a crisis for personal or familial gain, whether that's journalistic scoops or maybe settling old scores.
And this raises that critical question. What is Alice's deeper motivation for such overt manipulation? Is it just journalistic ambition, seeing this scandalous story ready to explode and wanting her daughter right at the heart of exposing it?
Could be.
Or is there a personal history with the Blossoms, or maybe Veronica's family, that fuels this really profound vitriol? Her words about true colors feel so deeply ingrained, suggesting past grievances that run much deeper than just Betty's weekend drama or the immediate murder investigation. It strongly hints that the animosity between these families isn't new, but rather something that's been simmering for generations, now brought to a boil by Jason's death.
Yeah.
She's not just a concerned mother, she's a strategic player, positioning her daughter within a pre-existing conflict, almost indoctrinating her into her own biases and vendettas.
Yeah.
This kind of intense parental pressure is such a hallmark of Riverdale, and it promises to shape Betty's journey in a big way.
Speaking of Betty, she's clearly trying to navigate her mother's suffocating influence while also dealing with her own raw emotions. Despite Archie's rejection, she decides she wants to be friends with him again. And later, she accepts Veronica's, lavish apology, which comes complete with this suite of opulent treats. Magnolia cupcakes, manipitas, blowouts.
Wow, the works.
Right. And Kevin, ever the voice of skepticism and common sense, is visibly wary of Betty's quick acceptance of Veronica's, extravagant gestures.
Betty's struggle here is just palpable. Her immediate, almost reflexive forgiveness of Archie and Veronica, despite her obvious hurt and their betrayals, it really demonstrates her core desire for connection and maybe a certain naivete about the complexities of human relationships.
Yeah, maybe.
She's desperately trying to cling to the normalcy of her friendships, even as her world is being completely turned upside down by a murder. Kevin's witty line, "Are we 100% sure that Archie's straight? Because no straight man has that body." It provides a moment of levity, sure.
Yeah.
But it also subtly highlights the complexities of Archie's own appeal and Betty's lingering feelings, even as she tries to move past her romantic hopes. Veronica's apology, claiming she was possessed by Madame Satan, the old Veronica, that's a performance.
Totally a performance.
A deliberate attempt to charm and smooth things over, and one that Betty, in her earnest desire for friendship, seems willing to accept at face value, at least for now.
And you can really feel the fragility of that dynamic, particularly with Veronica. Kevin's observation that it's the path of least resistance for Betty suggests that Betty is choosing comfort and ease over truly confronting her feelings and the source of her hurt. Their fast friendship could very easily be tested again, given the previous betrayal in the pilot. This moment illuminates Betty's internal conflict. Is she truly forgiving, or is she just desperate for the easy way out, a return to what feels familiar and safe? She's desperately trying to hold on to the friendship she cherishes in the face of so much upheaval.
Yeah.
This highlights a core vulnerability in Betty that will definitely be exploited later, you feel.
And this scene is also critically significant because it immediately pivots to the official announcement that shatters any remaining pretense of Riverdale's innocence.
Right, the assembly.
Exactly. Principal Weatherby tells the entire school that Jason's death is now unequivocally being treated as a homicide. Sheriff Keller then urges anyone with information to come forward, setting the stage for public scrutiny.
And then Cheryl steps up.
It's at this moment that Cheryl Blossom, ever the dramatist, seizes the spotlight with this, performative public declaration. Neither I nor my parents will rest until Jason's death is avenged, and his cold-hearted killer is walking the green mile to sit in Old Sparky and Fry. I, for one, have my suspicions. #Riverdale Strong.
Wow. That is intense. This is the official turning point for the entire town, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The casual drowning is definitively over, and Riverdale is now undeniably facing a full-blown murder investigation. Cheryl's public performance here is particularly telling. Is it genuine, grief-fueled melodrama? Or is it a strategic display designed to deflect attention from herself or her family? Or maybe to sow discord and point fingers without actually naming names? Her immediate pivot to #Riverdale Strong feels less about community solidarity and more about controlling a narrative and leveraging her grief for public impact. It really positions her as this central, enigmatic figure in the whole unfolding drama.
And what's truly fascinating here is the immediate aggressive public stance Cheryl takes. Her declaration of suspicions could be genuine grief-fueled paranoia, a desperate attempt to externalize her immense pain and direct it outwards.
Could be.
Or it could be a calculated move, maybe designed to preemptively deflect attention from herself or her family, or to subtly sow seeds of doubt about others. It immediately puts an invisible target on someone's back, even without her naming them.
Yeah.
And it ramps up the public pressure on the authorities to find a killer, and to do it fast. This moment firmly establishes the murder as the central conflict, drawing all eyes to the Blossom family and forcing them into this very public, performative grieving process that likely masks deeper secrets. It sets a precedent for how the town will handle this tragedy, with a mix of genuine sorrow and, manufactured appearances.
And speaking of suspicion, Jughead, ever the observant and slightly cynical narrator, is clearly onto something.
Oh.
He immediately confronts Archie right after the announcement. His directness just cuts through Archie's evasions.
Yeah.
He asks about their canceled July 4th road trip and presses him, "Is there something you want to tell me, pal?"
Jughead's role as narrator gives him this unique, almost omniscient insight into the town's drama, right? And his direct, probing question to Archie immediately positions him as a budding detective figure. His quick suspicion hints at his deep understanding of Archie's character, his ability to spot a lie or a secret. He knows Archie well enough to recognize when something is profoundly off, and he doesn't shy away from pressing the issue, which clearly strains their pre-existing closeness.
Right.
This moment isn't just a friendly inquiry. It's the first step in Jughead's inevitable journey to uncover the truth, leveraging his observational skills and intuition to become this central investigative force. It highlights the growing rift between him and Archie, a friendship founded on honesty that's now compromised by silence.
Later, the group Betty, Veronica, Kevin, they corner Cheryl, pressing her for details about Jason's drowning versus the gunshot they heard about. And Cheryl's response is just incredibly evasive, frustratingly vague.
Yeah.
She says, Jason did fall into the water. We both did. I made it to the shore. He didn't. Maybe he made it to the other side of the river and someone shot him there. Who knows?
Her story is just vague enough to sound plausible on the surface,
Right.
designed to deflect direct questions. But the details she omits and her casual, almost dismissive tone, especially with that flippant "who knows" at the end,
Well, who knows?
it creates significant doubt. It strongly suggests she's either actively hiding something crucial or she's genuinely disoriented by the trauma, or maybe it's a calculated mix of both. Her account of making it to shore and Jason not, then suggesting he made it to the other side of the river, it's crafted to obfuscate, not clarify. It immediately makes her a prime suspect in the audience's mind, even this early on. This evasiveness just reinforces the idea that the Blossoms, and Cheryl specifically, are tangled in this deeper web of secrets surrounding Jason's death.
We also get that moment that provides both levity and another subtle layer of secrets with Kevin and Moose.
Right.
Kevin, with his ever-present gayometer, discusses Archie's body, humorously questions his sexuality. Later, he has a conversation with Moose, who was with him at the river that night, remember? And Kevin ultimately concludes Moose should stick with what he knows best, girls, despite Moose being, quote, devastatingly handsome.
What's fascinating here is the casual yet insightful way Kevin discusses sexuality and how it immediately ties into the broader theme of secrecy just pervading Riverdale, especially around Jason's death.
Yeah.
Moose's presence at the river, and Kevin's astute observation about his sexuality. It hints at another hidden aspect of Riverdale life, the clandestine relationships, hidden desires, unspoken truths that exist just beneath the surface of this seemingly wholesome town. It suggests that many characters, not just those directly involved in the murder, have something to hide, even if it's not directly related to the crime itself. This secrecy, however innocuous, can put them in tricky positions or make them targets for suspicion later on.
True.
Kevin's gayometer adds a touch of much-needed humor, but it also kind of grounds the more dramatic elements with relatable teen experiences of identity and hidden lives.
Now let's turn to some broken hearts and maybe some bad advice. Starting with a really raw confrontation between Betty and Archie.
Okay.
After Archie sings his song, Betty confesses she's not okay. And that Pops, their long-standing safe place, isn't true anymore. She quotes Archie right back to him. I can't give you the answer you want, highlighting his earlier rejection.
Ouch.
Yeah. She painfully admits she thought she could pretend this weekend didn't happen, but she just can't.
This is a deeply emotional, pivotal moment for Betty. She's articulating her hurt and that profound feeling of betrayal with a new level of maturity, of directness. Her reference to Pops as their safest place just underscores the depth of their shared history and how profoundly Archie's actions have fractured it. She's not just upset, she's feeling the erosion of a fundamental part of her identity and comfort, the security of her oldest friendship. This scene raises a crucial question about the longevity and the nature of their friendship moving forward. Betty's newfound directness here shows significant growth. She's moving beyond simply pining for Archie to demanding honesty and respect.
Right.
It sets up a new, more mature, and potentially more challenging dynamic between them, where the friendship is conditional on honesty and clear boundaries. This marks a real turning point for Betty as she begins to stand up for herself more assertively.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Grundy's manipulation of Archie just continues, becoming even more blatant, more insidious. Principal Weatherby questions Archie about Jason, urging him to come forward with any information. Archie then tells Grundy he felt pressured by the questioning, and her response is just chilling. Is this How you feel about me? Is it real? Because if it's not, then I don't know what I'm protecting.
Wow, turning it on him.
Totally. And then she issues an ultimatum, forbidding him from going to Weatherby. If you do that, we will never see each other again.
Her manipulation is just laid bare here. It's stark, it's devoid of any genuine care for him. She's twisting his guilt about Jason, his nascent sense of responsibility, into this perverse test of his feelings for her, openly using emotional blackmail to protect herself and her secret.
It's shocking.
It is. It's a shocking display of self-interest, one that completely overshadows the gravity of a murder investigation and Archie's own moral conflict. What's truly fascinating here is the clear power dynamic. Grundy fully understands Archie's moral compass, his desire to do the right thing, and she ruthlessly exploits it by making their fragile, forbidden relationship the thing to protect. It's a calculated move that ensures his silence for now and reveals just how selfish and dangerous she truly is. She's prioritizing her career and freedom over justice for a murdered teen and Archie's moral integrity. It cements her as a truly toxic influence in his life.
And then there's Cheryl, doubling down on her public performance, proving that some people never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Yeah, right.
She decides to go ahead with the pep rally despite the murder, stating with this almost chilling confidence, "With Jason so present in our collective consciousness, all eyes will be on me. Will this beautiful, exotic, hothouse flower drown under the town's scrutiny or be swamped by her emotions? The answer, ladies, is no and no."
Wow.
And then she imperiously demands that Josie and the Pussycats join her performance.
This is, as Betty keenly notes, either brilliantly strategic or utterly psychotic, or perhaps a potent blend of both. Cheryl is actively using her grief as a public platform, transforming what should be a private tragedy into this grand performance for the entire town. It's a very public coping mechanism, yes, but more significantly, it's a sophisticated deflection, a way to control the narrative, keep herself at the center of attention, and maybe project an image of strength and innocence. This raises that important question. Is Cheryl truly processing her grief, or is she playing a long game, manipulating public perception? Her need for star power and to incorporate the Pussycats suggests this deep-seated desire to control the narrative surrounding her and Jason's death rather than genuinely mourn in private.
Right.
It's a very Blossom trait, isn't it? This blend of performance, privilege, and underlying darkness, hinting at a family accustomed to shaping their own reality, no matter how grim it gets.
And as if things weren't complicated enough for Betty, she has that very raw and public argument with Veronica in the locker room. Veronica claims she went into the closet with Archie to protect Betty from Cheryl's manipulation. Betty, however, is skeptical, pointing out quite rightly, Archie and I were fine before you got here. And Veronica, ever blunt and cutting, retorts, if by fine you mean he was oblivious and you were pining after him in quiet desperation.
Oof. That is a moment of incredibly frank, almost brutal honesty from Veronica. It cuts deep, exposing a painful truth about Betty's past dynamic with Archie. A truth Betty has been unwilling or unable to confront herself.
True.
It certainly complicates Veronica's earlier lavish apology, showing that despite her attempts at genuine friendship, she still possesses that sharp edge and isn't afraid to use it to defend herself or expose uncomfortable truths.
Right.
What's fascinating here is how Veronica, in her own flawed way, pushes Betty to confront her own past behaviors and dependencies. It's a moment of significant friction, yes, but it also could be a powerful catalyst for Betty to mature beyond her nice girl persona and gain a stronger sense of her own agency, separate from her long-standing crush on Archie.
Maybe.
Veronica, despite her apparent flaws, can be this surprising force for pushing others towards self-awareness and growth, even if it's painful.
And then, moment after this volatile argument, we see Veronica's pragmatism, or perhaps opportunism, come right back to the forefront again.
Right. The gift certificate.
Exactly. She immediately offers Cheryl the gift certificate for the mani-pedi and blowouts, essentially abandoning Betty to seek favor with Cheryl. And Kevin, ever observant, ever quick-witted, immediately calls her out. "Butt out, closet monster. You have forfeited your right to take the high and mighty road."
This scene raises that important question about Veronica's true character and the sincerity of her proclaimed change. Is she truly reforming, becoming a better person? Or is she just reverting to her old patterns of manipulating social dynamics and seeking advantageous alliances?
Yeah.
Her willingness to drop Betty so quickly for Cheryl, especially under duress and after such a heartfelt apology, strongly suggests that her self-interest remains a powerful driving force. Or at least that she's still very much a product of that high-stakes, ruthless social environment she came from.
It's a pragmatic, almost opportunistic move that reveals the inherent fragility of her newfound friendships and her underlying, deeply ingrained desire for social acceptance and power, even at the cost of others. Kevin's blunt assessment cuts right to the heart of it. She's back to her old ways, at least for this moment. It shows that old habits die hard in Riverdale.
Later, though, we do see a flicker of genuine regret, maybe empathy, from Veronica, as she learns more about Betty and Archie's deep, almost fated history.
Yes.
She hears about Archie tutoring Betty back in 2nd grade and Betty's childhood marriage proposal to Archie. Veronica says with this new tone of understanding, "I hate that I hurt her," and later, with the sense of foresight maybe, "I don't think your story with Betty is over."
This anecdote about Betty and Archie's long-standing history really reveals the deep, almost fated bond between them, right? A connection rooted in childhood innocence and shared experiences.
It makes Veronica's earlier actions sting even more, as she realizes the depth of what she interfered with, the profound historical significance of their relationship. This exchange shows a genuine flicker of regret and empathy from Veronica, indicating that she is indeed capable of growth and self-reflection, moving beyond her purely self-interested past.
Okay.
This raises an important question. Does this deeper understanding of Betty and Archie's bond genuinely change Veronica's approach moving forward? Her comment about their story not being over could be a genuine wish for reconciliation, or just a subtle acknowledgement of the complexities she stepped into, maybe even a premonition of their intertwined futures. It suggests that, despite her earlier opportunistic actions, she does value this nascent friendship with Betty, and understands its fundamental importance in the Riverdale landscape.
And just when you think you might have a handle on the shifting alliances, Cheryl drops another bombshell, this time directed viciously at Betty.
Here we go.
She visits Betty, initially appearing surprisingly vulnerable, and asks pointedly about Polly, Betty's older sister. Cheryl then reveals that Jason and Polly had a big fight this summer, before undergoing this sudden, chilling shift in demeanor, becoming utterly vicious as she brutally accuses, "Because you dumb cow, someone shot my brother and I think it was your crazy, tweaked-out sister."
This is where the script delivers a truly shocking and unsettling twist. The sudden shift in Cheryl's demeanor, from a semblance of vulnerability to outright malice, is deliberately jarring, unsettling. It immediately drops a massive bombshell. Polly, Betty's sister, is directly implicated in Jason's death, or at least in Cheryl's mind, making this a direct, cruel accusation, almost an act of psychological warfare against Betty.
Definitely.
What's truly fascinating here is the ambiguity of Cheryl's accusation. Is it baseless malice, driven by her overwhelming grief and a desire to lash out at anyone connected to Jason's life? Or does she possess some genuine, horrifying information that makes Polly a legitimate suspect? The casual, almost throwaway reference to Polly and Jason's epic demise hints at a deeper shared history we don't yet know, a secret relationship, a conflict between them that could be central to the entire mystery. It simultaneously provides a potential new suspect and paints this deeply disturbing picture of Polly's mental state, creating a new urgent path for the investigation.
This accusation about Polly also brings Jughead back into the fray, confronting Archie about Mrs. Grundy and the gunshot, cutting right to the heart of Archie's priorities.
Yes.
He doesn't mince words, calls Grundy a cougar, accuses her of messing with your mind. He pleads with his desperate edge, "A kid is dead, Archie, and you're worried about some cougar."
Yeah.
Archie, defensive, retaliates with, "What the hell do you know about it, Jughead?" Or about me even.
Yeah.
And Jughead's parting words are particularly poignant, revealing the depth of his disappointment. "I used to know this guy once, Archie Andrews. He wasn't perfect, but he always tried to do the right thing, at least."
Jughead is clearly positioned as Archie's moral compass and conscience in this moment. He sees the danger, the profound selfishness of Grundy's hold on Archie, and he sharply contrasts it with the immense gravity of Jason's death, calling out Archie's misplaced priorities.
Absolutely.
Their friendship, once seemingly unbreakable, is clearly fractured by Archie's secrecy, his misplaced loyalties. This dramatic confrontation raises an important question for you, the viewer. How far will Jughead go to uncover the truth? Especially when Archie is actively protecting someone he cares about, potentially hindering the investigation. His palpable disappointment, crystallized in his reflective final line, suggests a significant shift in their bond, foreshadowing Jughead's path as an increasingly independent investigative figure, perhaps even documenting the town's decay and the unraveling of its youth. He's no longer just a sidekick. He's becoming a driving force in his own right, compelled by a sense of justice that Archie seems to be momentarily abandoning.
And while Jughead is desperately trying to push Archie towards the truth, Alice Cooper is spiraling into new levels of paranoia and control.
Oh, Alice.
She tells Betty she wonders if the Blossoms didn't kill Jason themselves, sacrificed him to some dark pagan god.
Wow. That's
A wild escalation. She also confirms she told Polly about Jason's death, but vaguely states Polly doesn't even know what day it is, hinting at a severe mental state. Betty then expresses a strong desire to visit Polly, but Alice reiterates her control, asking Betty, how many times are you going to let them hurt you? To which Betty, still battling her mother's influence but trying to assert some independence, responds, until I learned my lesson, Mom, you were right.
Alice's paranoia truly reaches new heights here, bordering on the absurd with the pagan god theory. But it also profoundly highlights the intense, almost gothic nature of Riverdale's wealthy families and the deep, unsettling undercurrents she perceives as being at play.
Yeah.
What's truly fascinating here is the introduction of Polly's deeply compromised mental state. Alice's vague description, doesn't even know what day it is, combined with Cheryl's earlier vicious accusation, crazy, tweaked-out sister, paints a very concerning and disturbing picture of Polly.
Definitely.
Betty's immediate desire to visit Polly suggests a clear path for you, the listener, to potentially uncover more about Polly and her crucial yet hidden connection to Jason. It deepens the mystery significantly by adding this layer of family secrets, potential mental illness, and a direct link to the murder that seems to be deliberately obscured by Alice. This sets up a profound conflict for Betty, torn between her mother's control and her desperate need to understand her sister's fate.
All these personal dramas, family secrets, they play out against the backdrop of growing public suspicion and tension in Riverdale. We see this acutely and disturbingly in the locker room brawl,
Right, Reggie.
where Reggie Mantle, the quintessential bully, taunts Jughead mercilessly. He calls him a spooky, scrawny, pathetic internet troll too busy writing his manifestos to get laid.
Ouch. Cruel.
And then he escalates to a shocking degree, accusing Jughead of being a serial killer fanboy freak and suggesting he didn't do stuff to the body, did you? It's a cruel, utterly baseless accusation designed to isolate and demonize, which leads Archie, despite their recent friction, to defend Jughead and start a fight.
This scene starkly reveals how quickly a town, gripped by fear and suspicion, can turn on someone based on stereotypes and their perceived outsider status. Reggie's cruel taunts, especially the abhorrent necrophilia accusation, are designed not just to insult but to utterly dehumanize Jughead, making him an easy scapegoat or target for suspicion.
Yeah.
It raises an important question about the town's collective psychology. Is Jughead's moody demeanor simply a personality trait? Or is there a deeper reason for his social alienation that makes him such an easy and convenient target for public suspicion? Almost a pre-written villain. Archie's spontaneous defense of Jughead, despite their recent friction, shows a powerful flicker of their old loyalty and a moral line he's unwilling to let Reggie cross, even as he struggles with his own profound secrets. It's a crucial moment that reaffirms the bond between them, however strained, and highlights Archie's inherent decency.
And that flicker of loyalty, of inherent decency, brings us right back to Fred Andrews, Archie's steadfast guiding hand.
Good old Fred.
Fred sees Archie's black eye, hears it's from a fight with Reggie, vaguely related to a girl. Archie confesses, "It's about me and this girl. I think we should do something, and it's the right thing, Dad. But the girl says that if we do or if I do this thing, it'll ruin what we have." And Fred's advice is just simple, yet unwavering, embodying profound moral clarity. Archie, if you know it's the right thing to do, even though it's tough, even though it might cost you, you got to do it.
This is an absolutely pivotal conversation, truly defining the moral center of the episode, I think. Fred, without knowing the specific horrifying details of Grundy and the gunshot, consistently provides sound moral guidance rooted in integrity.
Yeah.
He's not demanding answers. He's encouraging Archie to own his truth, to act with courage, even if it has significant personal consequences and might cost him something deeply personal. It's a moment of profound, genuine, paternal support,
It really is.
highlighting Fred's unwavering moral compass, which acts as this powerful foil to Mrs. Grundy's insidious, self-serving manipulation. This conversation is clearly the catalyst for Archie's monumental decision to confess, setting him on a path of greater integrity, even if it leads to pain and discomfort. It's a father teaching his son the true meaning of courage and responsibility, a lesson Archie desperately needs to learn in this town of secrets.
And Archie finally, makes that difficult decision, demonstrating, I think, profound growth in character.
He does.
He tells Miss Grundy, with this newfound resolve, I'm going to come clean with Weatherby and Keller. I was there, I heard the Reich, and I have to own that.
Yeah.
He offers her the chance to come with him, but with a flicker of his past protectiveness, says he'll protect her if she doesn't. He then tells Jughead, with the directness their friendship demands, Grundy and me, we're telling Weatherby. Or at least I am.
This is Archie's true turning point in the script. Despite his earlier wavering, the immense emotional pressure, the manipulation from Grundy, he finally makes the courageous decision to do the right thing, directly influenced by his father's unwavering advice and his own struggling conscience.
Yeah.
It powerfully demonstrates his underlying good nature, his moral core, even when faced with significant personal risk, potentially losing Grundy, facing legal consequences, disrupting his entire life.
Right.
This decision immediately raises critical questions for the narrative. What will be the immediate fallout for Archie? Will Grundy betray him, throw him under the bus to save herself? How will the authorities react to his delayed confession?
Big questions.
Huge. This decision will undoubtedly reshape his relationships, particularly with Grundy and Jughead, and fundamentally alter his place in Riverdale's unfolding mystery. It marks a significant step towards maturity for his character. His willingness to act alone, if necessary, shows a burgeoning independence.
This moment of truth also leads to a much-needed and quite classic reconciliation between Archie and Jughead. Exactly. Archie apologizes for his harsh words during their earlier confrontation. Jughead responds with typical Jughead wit and characteristic gruffness. It's cool. We're not going to hug in front of this whole town, suggesting a more masculine bro thing where we nod like douches and mutually suppress our emotions.
Perfect Jughead.
Right. They agreed to discuss being friends over many burgers and many days.
This is indeed a classic bromance, perfectly encapsulating the unspoken understanding and deep loyalty between them. It's not a full emotional resolution, no, but it's a profoundly significant step towards mending their fractured friendship, demonstrating the enduring power of their bond.
Yeah.
The shared understanding, even without explicit words or a dramatic embrace, is palpable and powerful. This reunion of sorts is absolutely crucial for the unfolding narrative because Jughead's sharp moral clarity and observational skills, combined with Archie's direct experience of the gunshot, puts them in a unique and powerful position to pursue the truth together. Their renewed, albeit nuanced, friendship could be the key investigative partnership in solving Jason's complex murder, providing both the raw data and the analytical perspective needed to cut through Riverdale's many lies. They complement each other perfectly.
And as Archie prepares to finally come clean, the town attempts to put on a brave face with that forced, almost macabre pep rally.
Right.
Moon McCoy dedicates it to Jason Blossom, and the River Vixens and Josie and the Pussycats perform this upbeat rendition of Sugar, Sugar, complete with cheerful music and enthusiastic cheering. It's weird.
The pep rally is such a jarring juxtaposition, a truly unsettling moment of cognitive dissonance. This celebratory, lively performance of Sugar, Sugar, with its saccharine sweetness, feels almost profoundly disrespectful given the horrific circumstances of Jason's death.
Totally.
It highlights the town's desperate attempt to normalize the abnormal, to impose a facade of unity and spirit over a festering traumatic darkness. What's fascinating here is the palpable tension between this outward display of Riverdale strong and the grim underlying reality. It's a deliberate narrative choice to show the town trying to maintain an illusion of normalcy, to pretend everything is fine, even as a terrible truth festers beneath the surface. It's almost an act of collective denial, a desperate clinging to a past innocence that just no longer exists.
But that facade cracks, dramatically and publicly. During the rally, Cheryl has a very public, gut-wrenching breakdown, sobbing uncontrollably. He's gone. He was supposed to come back. I'm alone. It's a moment of profound vulnerability. And Betty, surprisingly, comforts her in this rare, tender moment of connection between the two.
Cheryl's raw, unvarnished grief is truly palpable here, breaking through her carefully constructed performance and revealing the depth of her pain. But that line, he was supposed to come back, is particularly haunting and loaded with implications.
It really is.
It suggests far more than simple grief for a dead brother. It implies a specific plan, a broken promise, or a deeper secret than just a simple drowning or immediate murder. This raises an important and urgent question. Supposed to come back from where? This isn't just a lament. It implies a failure of a specific arrangement or expectation she had for Jason. It strongly hints at a conspiracy or a secret arrangement that went horribly wrong, deepening her involvement and knowledge far beyond simply being a grieving sister. It suggests she knows much more about Jason's activities and intentions than she's been letting on, pointing to an underlying narrative of betrayal or a plan gone awry.
After the emotional roller coaster of the pep rally, Betty and Veronica retreat to Pops, seeking solace in their long-standing safe haven.
Pops, the anchor.
Always. There, Betty suggests they make a vow that no matter what, no boy will ever come between us again. Deal. Deal. And then Archie and Jughead, seemingly drawn to the same beacon of normalcy, join them at the booth.
This vow marks a pivotal turning point for Betty and Veronica's friendship. Despite their rocky start, Veronica's recent opportunistic move, they're solidifying their bond, recognizing the paramount importance of their relationship over romantic entanglements and teenage drama. It's a moment of significant growth and maturity for both of them, establishing a foundation of trust and loyalty that will be crucial moving forward. If we connect this to the bigger picture of the unfolding mystery, this vow provides a stable, resilient foundation for their friendship as they inevitably delve deeper into the town's dark secrets. It positions them as a strong, formidable, investigative duo, perhaps less susceptible to the romantic complications that often derail such ventures, allowing them to focus on uncovering the darker truths of Riverdale. It's the formation of a core, unified front in the face of chaos.
Jughead's narration over this scene is incredibly poignant, though, and offers this unique meta-commentary on the group's dynamic. He speaks about the four in the booth. To someone on the outside peering in, it would look like there were 4 people in that booth. But I was there, and I can tell you, really, there were only 3. A blonde girl, a raven-haired girl, and the luckiest red-headed boy in this universe.
For one shining moment, we were just kids. Those bright neon lights of Pops keeping the darkness at bay, giving way, as all nights must, to a morning of reckonings.
What's fascinating here is Jughead's profound self-awareness as the detached observer, almost predestined to document the town's decay. The only 3 clearly implies Jughead feels like an intrinsic outsider, even within the supposedly close-knit group of friends. It powerfully foreshadows his eventual role as the narrator and chronicler of Riverdale's dark, unfolding history. His perspective sets a darker, almost melancholic tone, reminding you, the listener, that this fleeting moment of peace at Pops is utterly temporary. A final, brief breath of innocence before the inevitable morning of reckonings. It frames the entire narrative as a relentless descent into darkness and lost innocence, and positions Jughead as the Cassandra figure, observing and documenting the town's demise from a slight yet critical remove.
And then the ultimate mic drop, the revelation that completely redefines everything we thought we knew, shattering all previous assumptions.
Okay, here it comes.
Cheryl, in front of her classmates, dramatically states that I'm guilty.
Whoa.
And Jughead's narration immediately follows, correcting and profoundly expanding on the truth. As shocking as those 3 words were, they were nothing compared to the secrets that Jason's body had given up during its autopsy, that Jason didn't die on July 4th as we believed, but over a week later.
A week later,
He had ligature marks on both wrists and a hint of cryonecrotic preservation.
This is the major aha moment of the entire script, and it's a complete game changer. This isn't just a revelation, it's a complete, horrifying redefinition of the murder and the entire timeline. Jason didn't die on July 4th. He was alive for over a week, bound, and then kept preserved. This changes everything we thought we understood about the crime and the sequence of events.
Everything.
The true insight here is the profound shift in the nature of the crime itself. If Jason died a week after July 4th, it means, well, several huge things.
Okay, break it down.
First, someone was actively holding him captive. The presence of ligature marks on both wrists is a critical, chilling detail. It suggests restraint, torture, maybe prolonged imprisonment. This immediately introduces the element of kidnapping into the murder, transforming it from a simple shooting to a far more complex and premeditated act.
All right, kidnapping.
Second, the gunshot Archie heard on July 4th wasn't the fatal blow. This means Archie's secret, while still morally weighty and pivotal to his character arc, is significant in a very different way. It wasn't the sound of Jason dying, but perhaps the sound of his capture. Or something entirely unrelated. This complicates the initial understanding of the crime and challenges Archie's perceived role as the direct witness to the murder.
Wow.
Third, Cheryl's original story about the drowning is now even more suspect. Or it means she's protecting someone involved in the later death, or even his captivity. Her public displays of grief, her final dramatic declaration of guilt, They take on entirely new, chilling meanings in light of this information. Was she guilty of something related to his captivity, or just his eventual disappearance, maybe still believing he drowned?
So many questions about Cheryl now.
Exactly. And finally, the cryonecrotic preservation is perhaps the most disturbing detail of all. It suggests an attempt to preserve the body, or perhaps something far more sinister, more ritualistic. What kind of killer would attempt such a thing? Does it point to a specific type of perpetrator with, medical knowledge, or someone involved in something truly bizarre and macabre?
Chilling.
This turns the murder from a sudden, violent act into a prolonged, orchestrated, and chillingly meticulous event. It fundamentally shifts the entire nature of the investigation, from a search for a shooter to a hunt for a torturer and kidnapper, and it rips away any remaining veil of normalcy from Riverdale.
So, to recap our deep dive into A Touch of Evil, Archie and Grundy's illicit secret is revealed to us, the listener, setting up Archie's profound moral dilemma and his eventual courageous decision to confess.
Right.
Betty and Veronica, despite their initial friction, are forming a strong pact, solidifying their friendship as a core investigative unit. Jughead is clearly on the case, driven by his sharp sense of justice and his fractured friendship with Archie. And most importantly, the ultimate revelation. Jason Blossom was held captive and died a week later than initially believed, with chilling ligature marks indicating he was bound and signs of cryonecrotic preservation. This isn't just a murder. It's something far more twisted, premeditated, and deeply unsettling.
And this incredible revelation raises so many urgent questions that you as the listener can start pondering right now based only on the script we've just explored.
Okay, let's hear them.
Who kept Jason alive for that extra week, and why? The ligature marks are a critical detail suggesting restraint and control, but for what purpose? What was the motive for keeping him alive, perhaps torturing him and then killing him later? This points to a more complex, maybe deeply personal or symbolic motive, rather than a quick, impulsive act.
Right.
What is the significance of the cryonecrotic preservation? Does it point to a specific type of perpetrator with a disturbing expertise, a ritualistic element, an attempt to manipulate the crime scene to hide the true timeline? How does Cheryl's original drowning story and her ambiguous guilty statement fit into this new extended timeline? Is she covering for someone who held Jason captive? Was she involved herself in his captivity? Or did she simply misinterpret what she saw on the 4th of July?
So many possibilities.
Exactly. Will Archie actually confess about the gunshot? And how will that initial, seemingly vital piece of information now fit into a timeline where Jason died much later? And finally, how will Betty and Jughead, with their sharpened investigative instincts and renewed friendship, use this massive new piece of information to push them deeper into Riverdale's dark underbelly and uncover the truly horrifying truth?
So if Jason Blossom was held captive and meticulously preserved, it suggests a chilling level of premeditation and perhaps a message, right? A message for the town or for a specific individual. What was that message and for whom was it intended?
That's the final provocative thought, isn't it? This profound shift from a sudden, immediate murder to a prolonged, almost clinical event suggests the killer who is not just violent, but meticulously calculating, psychologically complex, and perhaps even deeply depraved. Consider the terrifying implications of someone having Jason in their control for an entire week before his death, possibly torturing him, manipulating him, or worse. What does that truly tell us about the nature of the evil stirring in Riverdale, and how deeply rooted and insidious it might be in this town's seemingly wholesome facade? The questions truly just begin here, and the answers promise to be far more disturbing than we can possibly imagine based on just this script.
The more the merrier. Healing for my friends. Your dog is suffering. I am a true team player.